really, really milks my cereal. Oof. Yeah, that one's a little rough. All right, so what I was going to talk about today, I might have talked about this a little bit in the last couple of weeks. I think I might have mentioned it. I don't want to waste your guys' time too much by repeating the same stuff, so sorry if you've heard this already. But this is actually some of the thinking that got me to start streaming more in the past couple of weeks, and what got me interested in doing this project. And I was listening to a podcast, a short podcast, talking about passion and how to sorry, I'm trying not to touch my microphone, stop touching it. How to develop passion and whether that's really a thing that you can do. And he was saying that passion isn't something that you like force yourself to have by trying to like your job more, or trying to force yourself to like the activities that you're doing more. He said passion is the thing that you wake up and naturally do. And I've been thinking about that ever since, because I was like, what do I wake up and naturally do? I wake up and naturally look at Twitter and sit on Reddit for a while. And I realized that I have spent so much time avoiding things that I'm supposed to do that I have a really hard time knowing what it is that I like to do. And I think this is a big struggle for probably all people, but especially people who struggle with depression and anxiety. Drink coffee. Yeah, that gets me out of bed too. Something I think about, when I go to talk to a therapist and I don't really know what the problem is. I'm not really sure what to ask for or what it is that I need to help. Those times where you just feel like you don't really have focus or purpose or drive to do anything. And I'm trying to think about, like, how long ago, when was the last time that I was excited to wake up because there was something that I really wanted to do? And I try really hard to think about that, or what would get me excited to get out of bed. That's great butt touch. Having a therapist that will get you to talk. I need that. I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow too. A more structured way of approaching this figuring out what it is that you're lacking, or what it is that you actually want to change in a cognitive behavioral sense. What is it that I actually do for a living? I do this. I talk on the internet and play video games. I used to be a preschool teacher, but I quit to do this and floundered a lot. In the US especially, but I think probably anyone can relate. Our worth, our self-worth is very tied up in what we produce and the capital that we create. When someone meets you, they want to know what it is that you do. And there's a lot of pressure to have a good answer. Like, I liked telling people that I was a preschool teacher. That's an important job. I kind of struggled with people. I still kind of have a hard time when people ask me what I do now, because I know that they're wondering, what good do I do? What am I contributing to society? And with that in mind, everything that you've done since you were a little kid basically has been aimed at becoming a person who will be good at producing capital. You go to school so you can go to better school and get a good job, be a good functioning member of society, which is good. People need to have jobs. People need to do important work. But in that long process of preparing yourself to be a moneymaker, it is really, really hard to keep track of what it is that is actually meaningful to you and brings you joy. I think especially as someone who struggled so much with doing the things that I need to do, I don't know, due to depression or anxiety or just my own laziness or lack of discipline, I spend so much of my energy just trying to do, the things that I need to, like things that you have to do to bring in some money, keep the house organized, keep your life together. I spend so much time focusing on those things that I will often just neglect trying to do anything that genuinely makes me happy. And I do. I mean, the other side of this is, but how is that possible when I spend so much time not really doing anything? I spend a lot of time on my phone and whatnot. And another thing that I'm having to realize is that when he says what you naturally do, passion is what you wake up and naturally do. What you do with your time is not necessarily your passion. I have to check myself to see if my hobbies are my hobbies really the thing that I enjoy doing, and it makes me better as a person when I do them, or is it just something that I do to get away from the things that I really should be doing? What I really like to do when I was kind of happiest, I think I used to have a routine of waking up in the morning, getting coffee, taking my dog to the park. I would sit there, let her play for a couple hours. I would write. And then my favorite part of the day was going to the library and just reading and writing. But those aren't marketable skills. I like to sit around and think. That is a time-consuming activity that does not get me any progress in society as a career. So thinking about this, hi Core Skating, really thinking about this question of what might I do if I did not have to worry at all about producing capital? What would I do if I was absolutely free to exclusively do what ignites my passion? And where I'm starting is with this stream. I like this search for meaning, and I like having an audience to share it with. So I don't think this is a very lucrative project that I'm doing, but I think it's a good one that it's getting me to stream more. It's getting me to do my job. It's getting me to wake up and want to do it. Thank you, our savior. I hope you have a good day too. Oh, so that was just a start. And then, I mean, obviously I have a lot more freedom than other people have because I can get by on a low income due to the support system that I have. Not everybody can do that. I have the freedom to be like, hey, I'm gonna do this job where I just make a couple $100s a month, and that's fine for me. And I'm aware of that. It's something then that you have to fight really hard for to make that, find the time and the energy to not just worry about how you're making money, but if the way that you're doing it really is something that improves your life and gives you meaning, because that's what you're spending the majority of your time doing. There's a fine line between having passions and having dopamine problems. Absolutely true. I take antidepressants and other medications that impact my mood. Hi, Emiliano. So I know that I can share all of the coping mechanisms that I have, and if you really have a chemical deficiency or a physical problem causing your depression, then it's possible that all of the coping methods in the world might not be enough to kind of pull you out of that completely, but they help. They do help. Hi, Zio. Hey, Nazcan. And I am going to talk more tomorrow about what specifically can be done. Like I said, just a structured way of kind of finding some starting points. But hey, Bearsley, yeah, just taking the time to think about, like, what did I do in my free time before I was depressed, or before I had to focus on being an adult and doing all the things an adult needs to do. Angry Koopa says, being alone is hard, but I found that you aren't actually alone if you trust yourself as a companion. It does help. Before I was, yeah, me too. My mental health issues kicked in at around 12. So, yeah, remembering that that I loved playing with my stuffed animals isn't necessarily helpful. I did love, when I was in first grade, I remember I would take home my workbooks from school, like practicing our spelling and handwriting, and I would erase all the pages and line up all my stuffed animals and teach them how to read. So I guess I could take some insight for that. I enjoyed teaching very much. I did really like, I spent a lot of time alone as a kid, and I enjoyed that time a lot. Just reading books and playing make-believe with my stuffed animals and stuff. And I do find as an adult that I am happiest when I'm taking care of somebody or something. And that's not a very marketable skill. I am someone who naturally goes into a support role. Not so much I'm not very driven to make a lot of money. I have a hard time caring about it. But you have to. I mean, have to be self-sufficient and able to support yourself. So it's a tough balance these days, especially just where we are. I think it used to be a lot more obvious, I guess, what the options were. I would absolutely choose to have more freedom than going back to a time where gender roles were really strict. But at least in that time, there were much clearer guidelines of what was expected of you. You didn't really have to think too much about what it was you were going to do. There were housekeepers and men with jobs. And now everyone kind of has to do everything. There aren't really, I mean, there are couples who, there's it's the stay-at-home person, the homekeeper, and they're still the breadwinner.
Buy yourself a nice Diet Coca-Cola, Mom.
Thanks, baby. I will do that. Thank you so much. You're a sweetheart and an angel. Not to get too distracted, but Chorus Gating is my hot wife, and she's an amazing streamer. She plays a lot of Sims. If you guys want to follow her, and if you're into cute girls and stuff, go ahead and click on her name. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of Diet Coke for $10. Thank you, baby. But yeah, it's very hard to, I think harder maybe, or well, I mean it goes both ways. It's harder because you have to really figure these things out for yourself. You know, it's not like either I'm going to be the breadwinner or I'm going to be the caretaker. You have to be everything. Men and women both need to be self-sufficient and able to take care of all of the like emotional work that goes into keeping a life running smoothly. And I think it's just more important than ever to focus and fight very hard to give your time and energy to things that are actually going to be fulfilling to you, if it's possible. You need a caretaker. A lot of people do. And you have to learn how to be your own caretaker. You have to be your mom, and you have to be your wife, and you have to be your dad and your husband. You will get help from other people, but we are kind of in a place where we have to be everything. Hangato says, we value freedom so highly in our society, yet maybe we as humans haven't developed to cope with the freedom you can have in today's society. It's stressful. I wouldn't ask for less freedom, but it puts the labor on you. You are not going to be told what to do. I think a lot of traditional jobs are disappearing anyway, and it's good and it's bad, because like I've ended up in this position where a traditional job, traditional important job, doesn't pay that well. A lot of people work full-time jobs and can't support themselves that way. So we are becoming very innovative. And I think a lot of people are finding these new paths of entrepreneurship and like producing online content, stuff like this. That kind of, when there isn't that traditional path, you have to create that, and it's a great thing because you get to potentially create the job that you wish existed. But we have a lot of instability. And yeah, just making decisions for yourself is extremely stressful. It takes up a lot of your mental space. Hey, Divine, you've been self-sufficient most of your life, and it is much better to work. It is better, yes. I'm not saying to be self-sufficient and live by yourself and do everything by yourself. You need help for the little things. You need a support system. It's impossible to live by yourself and do everything that you need to do. But you know, it's harder to there isn't really that division, is what I'm saying. And like, for instance, a year and a half ago, I was engaged to someone who I trusted to take care of me financially. And I put, I just wasn't very worried about making money in that time. I was focused on doing the emotional work, like doing the laundry and taking care of the more domestic tasks. And I think I would have been very happy in that life, but things went south, and then I was kind of left with no savings and no house. And, I go all in when I'm into something, so I'm not much of a plan B person. But with what I know that I'll never put myself in that position again of relying on someone, even if I suspect that it's forever, because you never know. Hi, Reloaded. Thank you. So, I'm not saying that not to trust people or not to help each other. You have to help each other, but on a deep level, you need to put yourself in a position where you can get by if for some reason it comes down to just being you. Did I have anything else to say about that? Let's check. I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks, so it was a couple of weeks where I kind of wrote down some of these thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
Angry Koopa, thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to Fieldy Family. Love ya. Don't mind me while I sit here and read some notes that I wrote a couple weeks ago. I think I did say everything. There's some other things that I'm going to talk about tomorrow. This is kind of just like a general chat. Tomorrow, I have an actual structured plan for finding this passion if you don't have it. Kept that ring, though. I see this is not my engagement ring. My mom gave me this ring. I do still have the engagement ring, though. It's kind of hard to sell. I mean, it might not be that hard, but I don't know. It's been over a year, and when I think about selling it, I'm just like, I don't want to do that work. I don't want to. I've been thinking about just taking the diamonds out and making myself something pretty. I don't know. There's something, I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's a perfectly good ring. It's beautiful. Anyone would be happy to have it, but it just feels wrong selling an engagement ring of a broken engagement. And I don't want to like haggle with people over it. I don't know. I'll probably just hold on to it forever. I'll talk about that another time, Tominator. And people ask me a lot. I have a lot of questions in my inbox about dealing with breakups and things like that. So I could definitely spend a good hour talking about just that. It'll probably next week be when I get to that. have I been saving all these coffee time sessions to be watched? Yes, I have a YouTube playlist called Self-Improvement on my channel. It's youtube.com/FieldyStreams. I hope. I believe it's Fieldy Streams, not Fieldy Stream. Still no bot, sorry about that. So those are all up there. And I scheduled last week's videos to show up one a day for this week. So they'll be posted a week after they're broadcasted. Yes, thank you, Susan. I mean, I won't talk about it if it bothers me too much, but I've been really open about it. Honestly, a lot of what I'll say, I mean, I'm going to focus on responding to it more than the facts of what happened, because that's not really relevant. But breakups are extremely relevant. It's the most brutal thing I think that you experience. So I didn't handle it perfectly, but I think I handled it fairly well, all things considered. And I would like to help people going through the same thing. Yeah. Thank you, Pixie, so much
Sending all my love like always.
26
Your
months.
streams are like little rays of sunshine, less than 3.
You're a little ray of sunshine ever since that PAX where you gave me cookies. I don't just like you for your cookies, but that was so sweet. And it makes me really happy to see you in chat too. So thank you so much. All right, Divine. You have a great, great time working on your house. I'll catch you later. Yeah, freakish. Yeah. And yeah, I'll talk about that more another day. But yeah, my life is good and getting progressively more on track. I am a Sagittarius, Lord Hentai. I love zodiac shit is my guilty pleasure. I know that it's not, I don't know, everyone needs something that's not real to believe in for fun, and astrology shit is mine. I love it. Just as a tool for, I don't know, just kind of exploring human nature, I guess. All right, good luck, Jason. All right, that's all I had to say about. That's all I had to say about passion. I've talked before about managing my attention deficit disorder, and a bullet journal is my primary method of doing that. So I was just going to share with you guys my weekly spread that I made for this week, if anyone's interested in that. I like to do these every Sunday. I make a new one to prepare for the week. Well, this is the one for this week. Try to keep it simple, just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, things that are going on. The habit tracker is what helps me the most. When I wake up and am lost and don't know what to do, I have my plan. I go one by one, check these things off. I changed some things about my habit tracker from last week. So this was last week's. Whoopsies. So one of my goal for last week, the reason that I have like the yellow part highlighted, the phone seems to be the theme. What? Oh yeah, for this week, my phone is a big one. But yeah, the highlighted one is like my main goal, and then everything else is like the little things that I just need to do for my day to run smoothly. I didn't do a good job of exercising. I'm kind of see like all those little dashes from last week mean I didn't do it. So I just took that off for this week. I'm going to get back into exercising daily, but not right now because my main focus is working on this stream. And yeah, some of those things not getting done is just a reflection of focusing on more important things. Handwriting is weirdly photogenic for handwriting. I did try to write clearly, except for the lists. And then when I write in cursive, I usually intentionally write messy because I'm self-conscious about people reading my lists. But yeah, some changes I made. I took off exercise. Last week, I wanted to do a morning stream and an evening stream. I'm just doing one stream. And then a new goal that I'm picking up this week is I am trying to spend less time on social media, particularly on my phone. I spend so much time on my phone. In the morning, I lie in bed looking at it for a good half an hour or more before I get up. Pretty much any time I have downtime, I'm looking at my phone, and it takes away a lot from anything else that I could be doing. And that's not, I'm not passionate about what's going on my phone. I'm not doing anything that really makes my life better. It's just this time suck. And something about setting goals. It's very hard to frame a goal, like a negative goal, like something you want to stop doing. Like I want to stop spending so much time on my phone, because when you imagine yourself doing something, you can't imagine yourself not doing something. Like if I try to imagine myself not being on my phone, what I think of is myself on my phone, So the reason that I have this written down so many times, like check phone, put away, check phone, put away, put phone away for the night. I want to look at my phone no more than 3 times a day. So when I woke up this morning, I, first of all, am not bringing my phone into the bedroom anymore because I have no self-control. I'll sit there in bed for 3 hours instead of sleeping, reading Reddit and shit. So at the end of the day, before I go to bed, wash my face. That's kind of like my winding down for the night routine, and then check my phone one last time just for any phone stuff only, not stuff I can do on a computer. See if I have text messages, phone calls. If not, put my phone on the charger and leave it in a different room so that when I wake up, I don't have the opportunity to sit and be on my phone instead of getting out of bed and starting my day. So this is phrased as what I am doing instead of what I'm not doing. So when I wake up, briefly check my phone just for messages, put it away. Then, get dressed, get ready for the day. That's how I'm trying to spend less time on my phone. I'm addicted to it. I play mobile games. I play Hearthstone on there. I really like word games. And I think I told myself that word games are okay because it's like brain exercise or something. I have like Boggle and the New York Times crosswords and Scrabble and all that shit. It's not doing anything for me any more than Hearthstone is or any other app. Hey, let's Salta. And then one last thing I'm going to show you guys. I really like doing these like pretty layouts for the week, but a bullet journal is kind of the main benefit of it is the rapid logging. So this is not something that you should be spending your time on, on a day-to-day basis, making this pretty little thing with colors and everything. What my actually like daily logs look like is super messy like this. It's just the day, the tasks, and then mark them off as you go. And then at the end of the day, if you missed anything, you just migrate that task and put it on next day's list. So you're not kind of losing anything, And I've talked about that before too, how it's frustrating, how it's kind of defeating when you make a to-do list and don't do all the things on it and then making a to-do list, it kind of feels like you're going in circles. I like this method of just dropping the tasks and then adding whatever is new that you need to do. This helps me a lot with my ADD, as far as actually doing things. And some days I need to be way more detailed in that list than other days. Oh, great, let's Alta. I liked it a lot. Yeah, not every chapter was super helpful, but the ones that were have had a strong impact on me in a good way. That's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. I've been talking about it a lot because I just finished reading it actually yesterday or Saturday. So I might talk about it a little bit more this week, and then I'll move on to something else if you're tired of hearing me talk about that. But yeah, Reloaded, this does help me a lot with my ADD. I'm trying not to talk too much about my specific disorders and more the symptoms that I have and how this helps me. So this is what helps me when I'm having a hard time just doing anything, you know, when you wake up and it just feels impossible to go. Angry Koopa, I'm 27. So yeah, sometimes these are very detailed if I need them to be. Like every task, I will wake up. I first will go over my habit tracker. And then sometimes I make a list that includes that. I'll say, brush your teeth, get dressed, make coffee, anything else. Like, and then, like I did pretty good today. I didn't initially make a list. I woke up and knew what I needed to do and started doing it. Then when I had about like 20 minutes before the stream is supposed to start, I was getting kind of nervous, and I'm like, I need to do this thing and this thing and this thing. So I did end up writing down just like the list, because this helps me visualize and prioritize what it is that I need to do. What ADD does is it just makes it very difficult to prioritize what's important. So I have to really make a point of making the list and then saying, okay, these are the things I really, really need to do. This is what I should do first. So like my list for this morning says make coffee, oil and brush hair, change shirt, write if there's time, update title, go live. Just 6 pretty simple things that I needed to do. And I just write them down so I can focus, because otherwise I'm running around like, oh, what was that other, there's a few things I wanted to do before we get started. What were they? So the rapid logging helps me a lot. People who are a little bit better at doing stuff and don't need to be reminded to brush their teeth, you know, just might write down some of the bigger events or tasks you need to do that day. You don't have to write down everything, but I do sometimes. And yeah, that helps me get started. I don't know. Am I speaking to anything in you guys? Do you guys struggle with that task paralysis, or deciding, I don't know, moving from thinking about what you need to do to actually doing it? Something that I'll do maybe once a week, usually on the weekend when there's time for this kind of thing, is I do like thank you, Koopa. I do a task dump list. I call it a task dump usually. And I'll just write down a page of every single thing that I can think of that needs to be done. 'Cause I don't know, if those things are just floating around in my head, they don't really become action steps. They're just things that are stressing me out because I'm thinking about how they need to be done. So I will just write down every single thing that I can think of that needs to be done. It's usually at least a page long. Then I will decide the ones that I can do immediately. So I'll make a little daily task list. If it's Saturday, I'll have my dump list, and then I'll just write down Saturday and some of the things I'm going to do. And then decide which tasks are important and when it's reasonable to do them. And then if some of them are lower priority, then you have it on a list so you can come back to it later, but you don't have to be thinking about and remembering it. You wrote it down, it's done. So like on my weekly spread, which I made yesterday, I wrote down like some of those bigger tasks that I didn't have time to do Saturday, Sunday, and there isn't like a specific day that I want to do them, but I just want to keep them in mind. So that's like this task list: clean the garage, make an appointment with a psychiatrist, get some groceries, and organize my closet. So they don't need to be done immediately, but they are the things that I would really like to see get done. So having a plan for these things instead of letting them just float around and nag at you is super helpful. You have a problem with waiting until things are in critical condition to complete them. It's called being lazy, though. You can condition yourself. I mean, it might be laziness. It could be something else. It's a combination of both for me. I have chemical deficiencies, but I also there are actions that I can take to improve my drive and focus. Hey, Aneth. Yeah, Bearsley. And yeah, I think it's the migration system of bullet journaling that helps me so much that at the end of the week I look back on my lists and see what it is that I didn't get around to, and then reprioritize. Anna, thank you so much for the 2,000 bits. That's really generous. I appreciate that. Thank you. It took you almost a month to do my dishes. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. it's hard. And I assume you have a job or you're going to school, so you're doing things that a lot of the time are more important than doing your dishes. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier when I was saying it's a stressful time having to be your breadwinner and be your wife and your mom and your husband. You have to do, it's hard to prioritize when you have all of these things that need to be done. And you can't do all of them. You can't expect to be making money, going to school if that's something that you're doing, having a flawless, clean house, remembering all of the appointments that you have to do, all of these things. So that's why I find it so important to write down everything. And then, Bearsley said he's been putting off finding a doctor for a month. If you are migrating these tasks and you see like, I have tasks on this week, on this task list for the week that were on that list for last week. So I know that I need to reevaluate and figure out if am I really going to do this thing, or am I just going to decide it's not that important and leave it on the back burner? So, in my case, my brain cannot be trusted to remember and prioritize all of these little things that need to be done. So I write them all down and then manually say, this is the important one. This is the important one. This can wait a week. This can wait indefinitely. And separating the important, somewhat important, less important, helps me very much in getting from I have stuff to do and I just don't want to deal with any of it to, okay, here's a couple of quick, easy things that I can do to get some of these things taken care of. Do I have Ritalin prescribed? I don't have Ritalin. I take Vyvanse on some days. I try not to take it too often because it's expensive. Insurance covers some of it, and the problem is that every time I need it represcribed, I have to physically go to the doctor, and it's a hard thing to go to a doctor every month when you're already struggling with completing tasks and booking appointments and all that. And making phone calls are all things that are pretty difficult when you, I mean, I think they're difficult for a lot of people, but I struggle a lot with them. I don't know. Due to my disorders or just my conditioning, whatever the reason is, it's pretty hard. And yeah, I'll do a stream too, talking about my experience with the psychiatric drugs that I take. It's really important, and I do feel it. I feel it's my responsibility to talk about it since I'm giving coping advice. That my full disclosure is that I do not function well without these drugs, despite all of the coping mechanisms that I have. I think I have a very high emotional intelligence, and I'm a strong-willed person, but depression's a lot stronger. And I need that. I need that leveling. Did you know that stuff makes ordinary people high? Yeah, I have heard that. I actually took it this morning after not taking it for about a week, and I don't feel high at all. I feel much more calm than normal. I was actually real nervous about asking my doctor for ADD medication, or I guess not asking for medication, but going and asking my psychiatrist if she thought that I might have ADD. And yeah, part of that was I have an anxiety disorder, so it doesn't seem like taking uppers would be helpful for that, but I do find them, my brain works better when I'm on them. I'm a lot more relaxed. I feel like my thoughts land where they should be a lot more smoothly, instead of just, otherwise I have a very hard time capturing any thoughts. Okay, what games are you gonna play now? I feel you've been have you been counting? Have you been waiting for when I've been live for exactly 1 hour? Because you know that I'm gonna move on to video games. Yeah, Aneth, and yeah, I'll give a whole hour sometime to talking about drugs. I know that's only relevant to some people. I mean, taking actions towards self-improvement is helpful for everybody, but only some people need the talk on brain drugs. But yeah, that's my talk for today. So I'll go ahead and move on to some Bloodborne. You guys want to watch me play some games? If you were just here to listen to me talk, that's cool too. Pretty rad. And yeah, let me know. You always let me know what you think about these talks, and anything you agree or disagree with, or anything else you'd like me to talk about at another time. I'm listening. But for now, Bloodborne. Oh yeah, Reloaded. I want to finish this Bloodborne run that I started, and then get to Dark Souls Remastered. It sure is Reloaded. It's such a great game. I think it's my favorite. When I played God of War, I was like, I thought God of War was my favorite game, but now that I'm playing Bloodborne again, I'm remembering. But I think maybe just whatever game I'm playing in the moment, I think is my favorite game. Yeah, I finished Boy. I'm trying to replay it to go back and do more side quests, and I had a hard time getting into it for a second playthrough. But the first playthrough, flawless. And I think it's replayability is not quite there for me. But I really loved that game a lot. They're nice if they're not too long. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Reloaded. I think I do tend to. I enjoy sitting here and chatting, so I do stretch it out. I think I've gone an entire half an hour after I was done with what I intended to say, so yeah, I can keep it briefer. I want this to be helpful. I don't want to waste anybody's time. Let's see. Bloodborne. I'm not going to be creative with the title. Just Bloodborne, 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 all the way down. Yeah, I'll babble to you guys. But I could also babble to you guys while I play Bloodborne. It just will be much less focused. Fiddling with my computer a little bit. Hello, consensual love with your mom. How are you? Blood. Blood. I said blood. Wait, that's a really good emote for babble that I never even considered. I'm changing Fieldy Puke to Fieldy Babble. Why are there no pictures of art on your wall? I know, it is very plain in here. Will I play Agony? I don't know what that is. That sounds kind of scary. But I mean, I guess it doesn't sound any worse than Bloodborne. I actually have a list that I'm keeping when people suggest games to me. Because I forget everything. I do. Agony. A horror game in hell is exactly what I would expect from a game called Agony. Why does anyone want that? I can do it. I could, but should I do it? That's the real question. A game about going to hell and back. How fun. So it's a God of War side quest, is what you're saying. No, it's a ring that my mom got me. I love it. Old turquoise. Agony comes out tomorrow. Shit, I better get going on this. Finishing up this playthrough. I really want to. It's been a while since I played a game all the way through in Bloodborne, so I really want to finish this, even though there's a lot of other games calling my attention. Hi, baby. You need some attention before I get going? You want to come up? I was thinking about it. Put a couple little paws in my lap. Didn't quite get all the way there. I'm gonna say hello to the world. Oh, he doesn't want to be up here. Sorry. You teased me. You teased me with love. Now you have to accept it. Okay, you can go. You want to go or you want to get pet? Now, managing my distractions is very important, but nothing is more important than petting a cat. I'm petting a good big boy. Look at this man. He's ridiculous. His face. He's a ragdoll. God, you're so damn cute. I can't stand it. Oh, I can't put him down. You want me to put you down? Okay. Be free. So tolerant. He was not into that, but he just